Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at how to find the surface area and volume of cylinders. The formula for the surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. That's because there are two circles, and this is the circumference of a circle times the height. When we draw the net of a cylinder, this rectangle here, the length of the rectangle, needs to wrap around the entire circle. That's why it's the circumference. So the area of that rectangle, which is normally length times width, is 2 pi r, that's the length, times the height. The formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Okay, remember, area of the base times the height. The base just so happens to be a circle, so it's pi r squared times the height, the perpendicular height of the solid. Let's have a look at some examples. So in the first question, we want to find the surface area of the cylinder. Surface area is equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. That gives us 2 pi times the radius. Well, we are given the diameter as 9.2. Therefore, the radius is half of that, which is 4.6. Plus 2 pi times 4.6 times the height, 12.8. When we put that in our calculator, 2 pi times 4.6 squared plus 2 pi times 4.6 times 12.8, 502.91, 502.91 square meters. Okay, meters squared. The volume is pi r squared h. Pi times the radius, which we said was 4.6 squared, times height, 12.8, is equal to 850.89. 850.89 cubic meters. The second question. Surface area. So we only have 1/4 of a cylinder. So I'm going to do 1/4 of 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, except that we still we need to include these rectangles that were created from cutting this from a full cylinder. So we need to add in the area of two rectangles. Length times width, here is, actually let's just do that, length times width. Okay, so let's substitute everything in. 1/4 of 2 pi times the radius is 3. Okay, it's the radius of we're given a radius already, plus 2 pi times 3 times 10. But now we need to add the two rectangles, which is 2 times 3 lots of 10. When we put that in our calculator, what do we get? 1/4 times 2 pi times 3 squared plus 2 pi times 3 times 10 And then we're going to add 2 times 3 times 10. 121.26 centimeters squared. The volume is much simpler. We've only got 1/4 of a full circle, of a full cylinder. So we're going to multiply 1/4 by pi r squared h. R is 3. Height is 10. Put it in our calculator. Pi times 3 squared times 10. 70.69 centimeters cubed. These are all to 2 decimal places, by the way. Last question. So here we only have half a cylinder. So surface area is going to be half of 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. But when we sliced it, we have to add that rectangle. Length times width. So surface area is equal to half times 2 pi times the radius. The radius is not 1.6. 1.6 is the diameter. So the radius is 0.8, half of the diameter. 0.8 squared plus 2 pi times 0.8 times the height, which is 2. And then we need to add that rectangle. Length is 2, width is 1.6, and put that in our calculator. Half times 2 pi times 0.8 squared plus 2 pi times 0.8 times 2. Close the bracket. Plus the rectangle, 2 times 1.6, which is 10.24 square meters. The volume is easy. It's just half of pi r squared h. Half times pi times the radius is 0.8 squared times the height of 2. Half times pi times 0.8 squared times 2 is 2.01 meters cubed. And that's it for this video.